If the SPLC did not fund them, they would not exist. And then Democrats would lose power and the SPLC would run out of money.
Who among you is the traitor? This is a great question in the aftermath of the SPLC extremist expose that we learned that the SPLC was paying some prominent right-wing figures. I can tell you right now, I will look directly into the camera. I have never been funded by the SPLC. This is why you know I'm not a member of the KKK or the Nazis. If you are a member of KKK or Nazis, you are probably getting paid by left-wing organizers in order to create more hatred so that they could fundraise. It was a big mafia tactic, control both sides of the supply chain. There's a supply chain deficit for hate crimes in America, and this is why they have to make up stories about George Floyd. This is why they have to make up stories about January 6th. This is why they have to make up stories about Charlottesville, and they have to pay actors to do it. Well, anyway, we learned about that this week, and Matt Walsh is saying, you got to name names. We have to know who in the conservative ecosystem is the traitor. Who are the Judases? Who is taking money from the hate groups in order to set up their fellow countrymen? Sometimes people just, wanting to go and protest a stolen election, right? Like, who was setting those people up? Matt Walsh is saying that there are traitors in our ranks. Here we go.
Now, it's the kind of strategy that's effective because unless you're extremely familiar with how depraved left-wing activists are, it would never occur to you that they're doing any of this. But they feel a need to do it because otherwise there would be no right-wing hate groups. If the SPLC did not fund them, they would not exist. And then Democrats would lose power and the SPLC would run out of money. Now, it's the same reason that your antivirus software bugs you all the time. If your antivirus software told you the truth, which is that you really don't need to pay for antivirus software anymore, then obviously nobody would subscribe. So instead, they pester you with fake threats and scare tactics. And it's kind of the same principle, except in the case of the SPLC, they were having a substantial effect on American politics. Now, the more you read this indictment, the more you realize how shameless it was. According to the DOJ, the SPLC was paying the same Klan members that it was complaining about by name on its website. So I got to say, as an aside, I'm starting to get a little frustrated because, again, I was also listed on their website of extremists. They put me on the list. They had my photo up and everything, and I was on their hate map as somebody who absolutely must be stopped. And yet, for all of this, I wasn't paid a single cent at any point. I served as general hate without any compensation whatsoever. Meanwhile, the KKK wizards were just like raking it in. Now, of course, all kidding aside, SPLC was not offering money to genuine conservatives who are effective at advancing conservatism. The idea was to fund and prop up the alleged right-wingers who were useful to SPLC and the left. And I suspect that soon, whether through this investigation or those to come, we're gonna find out that there are a fair number of alleged conservative figures, the most embarrassing and ridiculous ones, who've been getting paid by the forces they pretend to oppose. There's a symbiotic relationship between left-wing activist groups and the supposedly right-wing grifters. And this relationship has always been obvious. Now we're learning about its financial dimensions.
Matt Walsh saying we have to name names. That's absolutely correct. We need to find out who in the so-called conservative movement was working with the SPLC to rat out and to destroy free speech nationwide. Because the point of all of this obviously was to shut down this page, everyone's X account, to shut down conservatives, to put people in jail if they could. The purpose of this was to engage in blood libels against the entire movement. And so who are they? We know who some of their donors are, ladies and gentlemen, but we need to figure out who, in fact, were the actual rats. Elon Musk commenting here. The left quickly realized that the boogeyman of white supremacy disappeared, and so did their power. So they literally funded white supremacy. If I had to guess, there are plenty more boogeymen out there where that came from. Yep, says Elon Musk. So We need to shut it down. We said so on Fox News just this morning, in fact. We were on Kayleigh McEnany's show, and the government needs to shut down the SPLC. This is what we said.
They did this. Let's bring in the one and only Benny Johnson. Benny.
Hello.
Hello.
This is an unbelievable grift. Think about this. You are funding the hate. Then you are fundraising off of the hate. You control both ends of the supply chain. It's like a mafia. You have the KKK, the Unite the Right rally. You have the Aryan Nation that the SPLC is funding, and then fundraising off of the hatred that they are fueling. And what do they trap right in the middle? Innocent people, like Turning Point USA. 4 months before Charlie Kirk was assassinated, they put Charlie Kirk dead center in their targets on this hate map. They called Turning Point USA chapters filled with young high schoolers. They likened them to the KKK. They took these young, patriotic, energetic, beautiful, optimistic children, and they said, you're just like KKK members. They were funding the KKK members. This is like corporate scale Jesse Smollett level grifts. It's hate crime hoaxing, and it's very, very dangerous. We were able to see the real world effect of what happens when you radicalize somebody so much that they want to go commit violence. Who knows if Tyler Robinson was witnessing and seeing this SPLC hate group map and then chose to act against Charlie Kirk. But Charlie said that the SPLC is a hate group. I believe that they are culpable in Charlie Kirk's assassination, and somebody needs to answer for this. It is an absolute and total abomination, and it needs to end.
And I know they targeted you. I want to pull up someone else who they targeted, who this got no coverage this week, but it should get coverage. Ben Carson. Yeah. Dr. Ben Carson. I cannot think of a more gentle spirit, prayerful person.
Yes.
But he's allegedly someone who's hateful and an extremist, and they pulled it back amid criticism, I would note.
Yeah, I don't quite understand why you would do this to innocent people. Ben Carson will sit there. If you share an elevator with him, he'll say a prayer for you. Yeah. He's one of the kindest, most genteel people. Charlie Kirk just wanted young men to become fathers, get married. He wanted young people to be inspired and uplifted and to be patriotic once more and to care about their nation. And they put him on a hate map. They liken him to the KKK. What I really think is remarkable about this story, Kayleigh, is that it proves how great of a nation we actually have. That there is such a supply and demand problem for hatred, for hate crimes, that someone like Jesse Smollett has to pay a bunch of Nigerians to go beat him up and claim that it was some white MAGA supporters, that the SPLC, on a much higher corporate and industrial level, this is industrial level hate crime hoaxing, has to go pay people to go commit hate crimes and go engage in hateful activities, as you demonstrated, literally writing the racist posts for them. And so I got to say, if there's one thing to be proven out of all of this, is how disgusting and despicable the left is and how they are willing to trap innocent people in this mafia game of hate crime hoaxing. But then also how wonderful of a nation this is, that there really is truly a supply and demand problem. That's because we are a Christian nation, founded by Christians with Christian morals. Our nation still roundly believes in God. 80% of the country believes that there is a God, worships that God. We still have a good and moral land. It's something to take away from this if there is a silver lining.
Yeah, that God still has his hand on our nation. We just have a few moments here, but are you surprised? I saw a New York Post headline. It's been silence from a lot of these people who funded SPLC. I haven't seen a statement from George and Amal Clooney.
Oh, yeah,
Exist, correct me. I haven't seen a statement from George Soros. Their money went to these extremist groups.
That's exactly right. According to the New York Post, Chick-fil-A, J.P. Morgan, MGM, OpenAI, Apple's CEO Tim Cook, they all funded the SPLC. Every single one of them should be out there demanding a refund, apologizing, knowing that some of that money, while they may not have known this, went directly to funding the KKK, right? So when you're buying your spicy chicken at Chick-fil-A, you might have also been funding a lit tiki torch for the Charlottesville rally. Nobody wants that. And the SPLC is a grift, and that's why I would like to call for, right now, the end of the tax-exempt status. Yep. The way these corporations can get away with it is they funnel this money and say, we have to give, we have to donate, we might as well donate to the Southern fight hate, right? If you get rid of the tax deduction, if you get rid of their nonprofit status, you will collapse the organization. It deserves to be in the dustbin of history, along with the hatred that they fund.
Benny Johnson in New York City. Be careful walking these blue streets behind me. All right.
That's right.
Thanks
two Tampa kids.
Yes, two Tampa kids.
Florida.
Living the dream. All right.